You need to leave now.
But I'm just having coffee.
Manager says you're making people uncomfortable. You're trespassing.
I bought this coffee 10 minutes ago. I'm not bothering
Are you leaving or do I need to remove you?
You're making a mistake.
FBI special agent. I don't care if you're the president. You're leaving.
The trouble started the moment a uniformed officer stormed into a quiet corner of Harbor Grounds Coffee, his boots echoing across the floor like a warning no one understood yet. At a small wooden table near the window sat a calm black man named Adrian Cole, an FBI agent on his day off, quietly reviewing documents while sipping the same medium roast everyone else had. But to the officer who stepped inside with a face full of authority and assumption, Adrian wasn't a customer, wasn't a professional, wasn't even a person enjoying his morning. He was a problem that needed removing fast. And in the next 3 minutes, a decision fueled by bias, ego, and zero evidence would destroy a career, ignite national outrage, and cost the city $6 million. Before I continue, where are you watching from? And if this is your first time here, please make sure to subscribe. Stories like this need to be seen. Adrian Cole had always believed that the most dangerous moments in his career would come during operations, surveillance missions, undercover meets, tactical entries. Never in a million years did he think a simple morning coffee run would become the moment that ripped open a national debate and turned his life into evidence in a multi-million-dollar civil rights case. But that's exactly what was about to happen inside Harbor Grounds Coffee, a busy cafe tucked between a pharmacy and a bookstore in downtown Portland. It was a bright Wednesday morning, the kind where the air smelled like fresh rain on cement and the cafe windows fogged from both the weather and the steam of endless lats. People in suits sat tapping laptops, students reviewed notes, and retirees chatted quietly over muffins. And then there was Adrian, calm, composed, focused. Off duty, wearing dark slacks, a blue button-down shirt, and a jacket folded neatly over his chair. His FBI credentials sat in his bag beside him, as they always did. He didn't need them today. He wasn't working. He was simply preparing for a noon appointment with a federal contractor and reviewing case summaries, while enjoying a drink he'd ordered less than 20 minutes earlier. He wasn't loud. He wasn't bothering anyone. He wasn't drawing attention. Yet somehow, to one person, he didn't belong. Inside the cafe, assistant manager Logan Firth, a man who acted like he ran a 5-star dining room instead of a morning coffee shop, paced behind the counter with growing annoyance. He had built this place up in his mind, clean, organized, full of the right kind of customers. And although he never said it out loud, his actions made it clear who he thought belonged and who didn't. Logan kept glancing at Adrian, his expression soaring more each time. Adrian wasn't doing anything unusual, typing, taking small sips, reviewing notes. But Logan had convinced himself that this quiet, professional black man was camping, stalling, taking up valuable space. None of this was true, but Logan, fueled by assumptions he didn't question, was certain something was off. And instead of approaching Adrian directly, instead of checking receipts, instead of simply observing like any reasonable manager, Logan made a phone call that would blow up the entire day. He called non-emergency police. "Hi," Logan said, lowering his voice even though no one was listening. "We've got someone loitering inside the shop, making customers uncomfortable." The dispatcher asked standard questions Logan skirted around with vague half-truths, never once admitting the obvious, that Adrian had bought his drink, had done nothing wrong, and wasn't disturbing a soul. The call was logged. A unit was sent. Officer Clint Mercer received the request. He was 32 years old, built like a linebacker, and had 7 years of service under his belt. His record wasn't spotless. 5 complaints involving racial bias, 3 for unnecessary detainment, and another for aggressive behavior during a stop involving a teen. None had ended in serious discipline. They never do when the reports are filed quietly and the victims don't have influence. Clint's first thought when he saw the call details wasn't to verify anything. It wasn't to assess. It wasn't to observe. His thought was simply this: someone doesn't belong, and I'm going to remove them. He walked into the cafe like he owned the place. Conversations died. People stiffened. The room shifted. Clint locked eyes on Adrian immediately. He didn't scan the room. He didn't ask who called. He didn't even check whether Adrian had a drink in front of him. He saw a black man with a laptop and decided that matched the complaint. He stomped right toward him. Adrian felt the presence before the shadow even hit the table. He looked up slowly, expecting maybe a lost tourist asking for directions, definitely not a police officer glaring at him as if he were a threat. "You need to leave." "Now," Clint said. No greeting. No explanation. Adrian raised an eyebrow. "Is there a problem? This is private property." Clint answered sharply. "Manager says you're trespassing." Adrian gestured to his cup. "I bought this less than 20 minutes ago. I'm not trespassing." Clint's jaw tightened. "The manager says you're making people uncomfortable. You're leaving." Adrian kept his voice steady. No emotion, no panic, just professionalism. "Officer, I'm simply having coffee." "You're stalling," Clint snapped. "No, I'm not." Adrian zipped his laptop slowly. "Is there a reason you're speaking to me like this?" Clint's voice dropped into something heavier. "Do I need to remove you, or are you walking out on your own?" Adrian recognized what was happening. He'd seen it too many times across the country, profiling hiding behind authority. He reached calmly into his bag. "I'm Special Agent Adrian Cole, FBI. Off duty. Just having coffee. You're making a mistake." He presented his credentials with a steady hand. Clint didn't even glance. "Fake," he said instantly. "They're not fake," Adrian answered. "You can verify with one call." "No," Clint barked, stepping closer. "You're leaving. Now." A few customers began recording. Adrian breathed once, slow, controlled. If he escalated, the situation escalated. If he resisted, even verbally, the narrative could twist, and he knew exactly how badly that could go. "I'm not refusing to leave," Adrian said clearly. "I'm asking you to verify my credentials before you." "You're done talking." Clint snapped and grabbed Adrian's arm without warning. Adrian didn't jerk back, didn't fight, didn't even raise his voice. "Officer, I'm complying. There's no reason for force." Clint tightened his grip anyway. A woman in line whispered, "He didn't do anything." Another customer muttered, "He bought a coffee. I saw him." Clint ignored every voice. He slammed handcuffs onto Adrian's wrists, tight, intentionally tight, while Adrian kept his body still, refusing to give Clint an excuse to escalate further. "This is unnecessary," Adrian said calmly, "and illegal." "You're under arrest for trespassing," Clint replied. "No, he's not." A man near the window called out. "He paid. He's been sitting there quietly." Clint didn't care. He dragged Adrian through the cafe, past dozens of witnesses, past cameras capturing everything. Adrian's calm, Clint's aggression, the handcuffs cutting into a man who had done nothing more than drink coffee. Outside, Clint shoved Adrian into the back of the squad car. Adrian looked straight ahead, already piecing together the documentation in his mind. He had testified in federal court too many times to count. He knew how cases formed, and this one was forming fast. As Clint slammed the door, a customer yelled from the sidewalk, "Officer." He said, "He's FBI. Why didn't you check?" Clint didn't answer. He simply walked around to the driver's side, started the engine, and sped off, completely unaware his actions were about to cost the city more money than he'd earn in a lifetime. Adrian Cole felt the shift in the atmosphere long before the officer even spoke. Years in the bureau had fine-tuned his instincts, tiny cues, like a sudden hush passing through a room, the stiffness of shoulders, the murmur of curiosity behind him. He looked up slowly, eyes calm, posture straight, his badge still tucked in the inside pocket of his jacket, invisible to everyone. Officer Grant Mallory stood in front of him, chest puffed, jaw tight, one hand hovering just close enough to his holstered weapon to make a point. His voice cut through the cafe like the scrape of metal. "Sir, I need you to stand up." A barista froze mid-pour. A college student at the corner table lifted her phone. Adrian's eyes moved across the room, not panicked, just assessing. "For what reason?" he asked, voice even. Mallory's face twitched, as if he'd been waiting for pushback. "We got a call about a suspicious individual matching your description. Step away from the table." Matching your description. Adrian had heard variations of that phrase his entire life. It always meant the same thing: black, male, breathing. Adrian placed his hands on the table deliberately, slow, visible, controlled. "Officer, I'm on federal assignment. If you tell me the nature of the complaint, I'm happy to." I said, "Get up." Mallory barked. Chairs scraped. Someone gasped. The energy shifted from curiosity to fear. Adrian exhaled once, grounding himself. "You're escalating a non-situation. Let's handle this professionally." Mallory stepped closer, violating every distance regulation in the book. Adrian could see the man's pupils, tiny and hard. This wasn't about procedure. It was about dominance. "I'm not asking again." Adrian rose slowly, hands visible. "Fine. I'm standing." Mallory immediately grabbed Adrian's wrist. Hard. Twisting it behind his back with unnecessary force. Pain shot through Adrian's shoulder, and a murmur rippled across the cafe. A woman near the counter yelped. "Why are you arresting him? He didn't do anything." Mallory ignored her. "You're being detained for suspicion of trespassing." "Trespassing?" Adrian repeated. "In a coffee shop where I'm a paying customer." Mallory shoved him forward anyway. "Turn around." Adrian's jaw tensed, but he kept his voice steady. "Officer, you're making a mistake. I'm with the—" With a violent jerk, Mallory slammed Adrian against the nearest wall. The sound echoed like a gunshot. Cups rattled. A child cried. Phones went up, 4, 5, then 7 recording the scene. Adrian didn't fight. He couldn't. Any sudden movement would become ammunition against him. "Hands behind your head," Mallory ordered. "They're behind my back," Adrian said through clenched teeth. Mallory didn't care. He tightened his grip, wrenching the arm higher. Adrian's vision blurred from the pressure. Mallory leaned in, breath hot with adrenaline. "You think you can talk your way out of this?" "Not today." The barista stepped forward, shaking. "Yes, sir. He's here all the time. He was just reading." "Step back," Mallory snapped. "Unless you want to interfere with police activity." The barista stepped back. Adrian felt something shift, not physically, but internally. He realized this wasn't about protocol, race alone, or even bias. Mallory was spiraling, his ego trapped in a cage he'd built himself. And Adrian knew what would happen next. He'd seen it too many times, in too many reports, in too many cities. Mallory reached for his cuffs. "Officer Mallory." The voice boomed from the entrance. Both men turned slightly. Lieutenant Renee Voss stood by the door, eyes wide with horror as she took in the scene. Her gaze shot between Mallory's grip, Adrian's stance, and the circle of phones recording the event. "Uncuff him right now," she ordered, walking toward them. Mallory's face drained of color. "Lieutenant, he matched. There was a call. Someone said." "Release him," she repeated, her voice deadly calm. Mallory hesitated, then let go. Adrian stepped back, shoulder throbbing. He reached into his jacket slowly and pulled out his badge. "Special Agent Adrian Cole, FBI." Gasps erupted across the room. Voss closed her eyes as if absorbing a blow. Mallory's mouth fell open. FFBI? He stammered. Adrian tucked the badge away. Yes, though being a citizen should have been enough. Voss turned on Mallory. What the hell were you thinking? I got a call. What call? Voss snapped. Dispatch never sent anything to this location. Mallory blinked, confused. But the guy outside, he said, there was, someone said. There was no call. Voss crossed her arms. And even if there were, you handled this like a rookie looking for a headline. Mallory swallowed. Lieutenant, I didn't know. I didn't realize. That he was an FBI agent? Voss finished. Or that he was a human being. Silence. Heavy. Damning. Adrian watched the entire exchange with clinical focus, his training pulling him into a quiet, controlled place. But beneath it, disappointment pooled like ink. Mallory finally spoke, voice trembling. I didn't mean. You meant exactly what you did, Adrian said quietly. Mallory closed his mouth. Voss stepped toward Adrian, tone softening. Agent Cole, I am so sorry. Are you injured? Just my shoulder, Adrian said, and my morning. A few people laughed nervously through the shock. Do you want to file a complaint? Voss asked. Not now, Adrian said. Right now, I want to leave this cafe without being tackled again. Voss nodded. Understood. But Adrian didn't get the chance to leave quietly. As he turned, one of the customers, an older man with silver hair, approached him. Sir, I recorded everything, the man said, if you need the footage. Another voice chimed in. Me too. Then another. And me. Mallory watched, pale as chalk, as a dozen strangers offered their phones like evidence in a trial that hadn't even begun yet. Adrian nodded. Thank you. Mallory whispered, Please, don't ruin my career. Adrian looked at him for a long moment. There was no anger in his eyes, just the weight of everything that had happened before this moment in towns, cities, neighborhoods across America. You did that yourself, Adrian said. He walked out of the cafe in complete silence, the entire room parting around him. The next morning, the video hit 21 million views. By the end of the week, the city approved a $6 million settlement, Lieutenant Voss was forced into public apology tours, and Officer Grant Mallory became a national example of everything wrong with policing. But Adrian was about to uncover a truth far more dangerous than a viral video, one that would pull him into a conspiracy stretching far beyond one officer's ego. And it started with the man who had lied about making that suspicious person call. The video should have been the end of it. A clean cut. A viral firestorm, an internal review, a settlement, a line drawn in city history. Adrian Cole knew how these stories usually went. Flared bright, burned hot, then vanished into the next outrage. But the morning after the settlement was announced, as he sat in the dim, controlled silence of his bureau office, something wouldn't let the incident rest in the past. Specifically, the call that never existed. He replayed the moment in the cafe, Mallory insisting someone outside had told him there was a call. No dispatch. No report. No record. Just a phantom voice that appeared long enough to trigger an unlawful arrest. Adrian's instincts, the same instincts honed through counterintel and domestic threat assessment, whispered a warning. Things like that don't happen by accident. Someone wanted a confrontation. Someone wanted him targeted. He opened the incident summary again. He'd already read it twice. Nothing unusual, nothing missing. Bodycam footage showed Mallory approaching a man outside the cafe, speaking briefly, then storming in without verifying a single detail. The man wasn't on the footage. Whoever he was had stepped out of frame just before the angle widened. That wasn't normal either. A knock hit his door. Open? Adrian looked up. Special Agent Maya Estrada stepped inside, closing the door gently behind her. 5'8", sharp eyes, half-lidded expression that made her look perpetually unimpressed by the world. She never visited without purpose. "You watched the footage again," she said, lowering into the chair across from him. 3 times. "You trying to punish yourself or find something?" "Both." She nodded. "I saw the public statement. 6 million. That's something." "It's silence money," Adrian said. "Cities pay it so they don't have to admit what everyone already knows." Maya studied him for a moment. "You okay?" "I'm thinking," Adrian answered. "Thinking about the officer?" "No. Thinking about the guy who lied about a call." She sat back. "I knew it." Adrian turned the monitor toward her. He paused the footage at the exact moment Mallory spoke with the unknown witness. Face turned away, Adrian said, "Hood up." No attempt to clarify the call. He just points at me and walks off. Maya leaned forward, narrowing her eyes. It could be coincidence. Some random resident running his mouth. Mallory said he gave him a description. "People describe everyone as suspicious these days," Maya said. "Black man sitting alone. Cops like Mallory eat that up." Adrian tapped the screen. "No. Look at the timing. The guy appears the moment I sit down with federal documents. He leaves the second Mallory steps inside. And there's something else." He'd adjusted the brightness. The man's jacket sleeve had a tiny patch, dark, circular, easy to miss unless you were looking. Maya's expression sharpened. "Is that a crest?" "Looks like one, but low-res makes it hard to identify." "You think he targeted you on purpose?" "I think he didn't want to be filmed," Adrian said. "And people who avoid cameras usually have a reason." Maya rubbed her forehead. "Okay. So what's your theory?" "Someone wanted to provoke a response from law enforcement. Not necessarily Mallory. Any officer would have done. Someone wanted a public confrontation involving a federal agent." Maya raised an eyebrow. "Why?" "That's the part I don't know yet," Adrian said. "But it wasn't random." She sat back, letting out a long breath. "So what do we do?" "We find that man." "Using what?" she asked. "A blurry patch on a sleeve?" Adrian smiled faintly. "You'd be surprised how many people hang themselves on small details." Before Maya could respond, Assistant Director Reinhardt's voice boomed from the hallway. "Cole, my office." Maya winced. That sounds fun. Adrian saved the still frame and headed out. Reinhardt's office always smelled like old leather, expensive scotch, and stress. The assistant director, a tall, stern man with hair retreating at a steady pace, gestured for Adrian to sit. "I'd assume you know why you're here," Reinhardt said. "Public relations," Adrian replied. "That's one part of it," Reinhardt said, steepling his fingers. "The Bureau has already been contacted by the mayor's office, the governor's chief of staff, and several advocacy organizations. They all want assurance you're being supported internally." "Am I?" "You will be," Reinhardt said. "But there's another issue. There's chatter online that the FBI agent in the video might have been targeted intentionally." Adrian's eyes flicked up. "Your name isn't public yet," Reinhardt continued, "but it will be soon. And the narrative is evolving faster than we can shape it." "What kind of chatter?" "Coordinated," Reinhardt said. "Multiple accounts posting identical phrasing. Claims you're part of an undercover investigation. Claims the incident was staged. Claims you provoked the officer on purpose." Adrian clenched his jaw. "None of that is true." "No. But the accounts spreading the claims were created months ago. Someone prepared for this." Silence prickled the room. "So what do you want from me?" Adrian asked. Reinhardt leaned forward. "I want you off the grid for a few days." "Absolutely not." "This isn't a request," Reinhardt said. "Someone is trying to manipulate federal optics using your identity. Until we understand the scope, I need you out of the spotlight. No interviews. No statements. No investigations. Adrian blinked slowly. You expect me to sit at home while someone sets fire to my name? For your safety, Reinhardt said. Adrian stood. With all due respect, sir, my safety is not improved by ignorance. Reinhardt's jaw twitched. Cole. No, Adrian said in a low voice. If someone orchestrated that confrontation, they're not done. He turned and walked out before Reinhardt could respond. Maya met him halfway down the hall. Let me guess, she said. He wants you benched. He wants me quiet. You're not going to be quiet, she said flatly. No. Then what's next? Adrian held up the still frame on his tablet. We find this man. Maya nodded. And if Reinhardt finds out? He won't, Adrian said. Because we're not logging anything. Maya smiled. Dirty work. My favorite. But as they headed toward the tech lab, Adrian felt it again, that cold tug at the base of his spine. A warning. A presence. Something dark moving beneath the surface of a city that pretended nothing was wrong. Whoever had triggered the incident at the cafe wasn't merely a bystander. And the moment Adrian started digging, that someone was going to know he was coming. The tech lab hummed with low, steady noise, servers, cooling vents, keyboards. It was the kind of room where secrets were stripped down to data and rebuilt into truth. Adrian always felt at home here. Maya, on the other hand, walked in like she was entering a haunted basement. Tell me we're not pulling favors, she muttered. We're absolutely pulling favors, Adrian replied. At the far workstation, a young technician sat hunched over 3 monitors. Miles Carter, 26, brilliant, socially allergic, and hopelessly addicted to neon energy drinks. He looked up from his screen, thick glasses reflecting endless lines of code. Oh, Miles said, blinking. Agent Cole. Agent Estrada. Am I in trouble? No, Adrian said. We need a quiet look at something. Miles seemed relieved. Silent work. Off the books. I like it. Less paperwork. Adrian brought up the still image on his tablet and set it in front of Miles. We need this enhanced. Miles stared at it for 3 seconds before saying, That's trash. It's what we've got, Maya said. Miles cracked his knuckles. Then let's see what the trash can tell us. He pulled the image onto his main monitor and began stacking layers, adjusting angles, isolating colors. Adrian watched closely, each tiny adjustment bringing more clarity, more shape. After 10 minutes, Miles zoomed in on the sleeve. The patch became a bit more visible, still blurry, but distinguishable. It's circular, Miles said. Outer ring, inner crest. Maybe an animal? A bird? Military? Maya suggested. No, Miles said. Too small. And the stitching pattern is weird. Looks handmade. Adrian leaned down. Can you sharpen the crest? Miles squinted. Not enough resolution. But he tapped a key and overlaid a spectral filter. I can highlight stitching density. A faint symbol appeared in pale blue lines. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough for Adrian to feel a chill. A serpent. Coiled. Head raised. I've seen a design like that, he murmured. Maya glanced at him. Where? 2 years ago. A fringe extremist group we flagged, but couldn't fully trace. They operated in cells, small, tight-knit, intentionally unbranded. The only identifying mark was a snake crest they rotated between designs. What were they called? Maya asked. They didn't have a formal name, Adrian said. But their internal communication used a phrase over and over again, the coil. Maya frowned. That sounds culty. It was, Adrian said, but smarter than most. Miles swiveled in his chair. If this guy's part of that group, We may have a problem. The coil disappeared last year. Completely dark. Maya crossed her arms. Why would a fringe extremist target you in a coffee shop? Not me specifically, Adrian said. The Bureau. A federal symbol. Or maybe you were the target, Miles added. What were you working on yesterday? Adrian hesitated. Nothing that would connect. That sounds like a lie, Maya said. It's not, Adrian said. I was reviewing a trafficking case. Completely unrelated. Miles tapped his keyboard absently. Except maybe it's not unrelated. The coil had rumors of involvement in cross-border channels, money, weapons, information. Adrian felt something cold tighten in his stomach. A connection he hadn't seen. A possibility he didn't like. Maya noticed his expression. What? Adrian exhaled. If the coil resurfaced, they wouldn't start with a direct hit. They'd test boundaries. Test communication response. See how fast an agency reacts, who gets involved, what divisions get triggered. Maya's eyes widened. A stress test. Exactly, Adrian said. And who better to use than a federal agent caught in a public incident? Miles leaned back, horrified. So the whole thing was planned? Maybe not the officer, Adrian said. But the spark? Yes. The room fell silent. Then Adrian's phone buzzed. Unknown number. No caller ID. He looked at Maya, then answered, Cole. A distorted voice spoke, digitally scrambled, genderless. You're looking for us. Adrian froze. Maya's hand instinctively moved toward her holster. Miles sat upright like a rabbit hearing a twig snap. The voice continued, You should stop. Adrian's tone remained steady. Who is this? You know who. You recognize the mark. Adrian's jaw tightened. The coil. A pause. Then, you shouldn't be involved. But you walked into a storm we didn't build for you. Then who was it built for? Silence. Not empty. Measured. Someone much higher than you. Someone who listens when you don't. Someone who watches the watchers. Adrian stepped farther from the others, lowering his voice. Tell me what you want. We don't want anything from you, the voice said. We want you alive. Which means walk away. Before forces bigger than us, and bigger than you, decide you've seen too much. Adrian swallowed slowly. Meet with me. Talk in person. The voice almost laughed. You're in no position to negotiate. Then why call? Adrian shot back. Why warn me? Another pause. Longer. Heavy. Because chaos is coming, the voice finally said. And if you keep digging, you'll end up on the wrong side of it. Then the line went dead. Maya rushed over. What did they say? Adrian stared at the darkened screen. They told me to stop. Are you going to? Absolutely not. Miles looked between them nervously. Should we report this to Reinhardt? Yes, Maya said. No, Adrian said at the same time. Maya shot him a look. Adrian, that was a direct threat. It was also a clue, Adrian countered. If we escalate too fast, we scare them underground again. We need to act smarter. She opened her mouth, stopped, then nodded reluctantly. Fine, she said. But we do this carefully. Quietly. Adrian paced slowly, piecing together the call. They said I wasn't the target. Someone higher up. Someone who listens when you don't. Surveillance division? Politicians? Intelligence oversight? Could be anyone, Maya said. This city has a lot of people above your pay grade. Adrian's phone buzzed again. This time it was a text message. No number. No thread. Just a single line. We are never supposed to see him. Another message followed. The next time you do, Arun. Adrian held up the phone for Maya to see. She whispered, "What the hell does that mean?" "It means," Adrian said slowly, "that the man who lied about that call isn't just a scout." He looked at the image on Miles' monitor, the hooded man, the serpent crest, the turned face. "He's something else," Adrian said, "something even the coil fears." Maya felt a shiver crawl up her spine. "And he's still out there." Adrian nodded. "And he knows we're looking for him." For the first time since the cafe incident, Adrian felt a tremor of something he hadn't felt in years. Not fear, not panic, but recognition. The kind of recognition that comes when a predator steps into a room before anyone notices the temperature drop. The man with the serpent crest wasn't just a threat. He was a signal. And the people who sent that signal were watching. Maya paced the length of the tech lab, jaw clenched. "We need a game plan, Adrian. A real one. Not whatever reckless, go with your gut thing you're cooking up." Miles nodded vigorously. "Yes, please no gut decisions. Guts get people killed, and I like being alive. It's one of my top 3 hobbies." Adrian wasn't listening to either of them. He was staring at the text messages as though the words might rearrange themselves into something safer. They didn't. "I need to go back to the cafe," Adrian said. Maya stopped pacing. "Absolutely not." "Yes." "Adrian, the whole point is not to confront this guy again." "I'm not confronting him," Adrian said. "I'm retracing the scene. There's something we missed. Something physical." Miles raised a hand timidly. "Could be. Cameras outside?" "No," Adrian said. "The cafe's exterior cameras face the street, not the sidewalk. But the store across from it, Graymark Pharmacy, has a lens pointed directly at the entrance." "You think they caught the mystery man?" Maya asked. "I think they caught more than we realized." Maya blew out a long breath. "Fine, but we go together." Miles lifted his hand again. "And I stay here, right? Away from danger? In this very safe, very locked room." "Yes," Adrian said. Miles sagged with relief. "Good. Excellent. I'll try not to panic while you're gone, but no promises." The city air felt different now, heavier, somehow. Adrian scanned the street as they approached Harbor Grounds Coffee. Reporters no longer hovered out front. The settlement had quieted the media frenzy. But the chalky outlines of public outrage still clung to the sidewalk, invisible but lingering. The cafe windows were normal again. People sipping drinks. Laptops open. Life pretending none of this had ever happened. The Graymark Pharmacy sat across the street, dull brick facade, wide windows, a bell above the entrance that chimed as Adrian and Maya stepped inside. A lone employee stood behind the counter scrolling on his phone. Maya flashed her badge. "FBI. We need access to your exterior surveillance from 2 mornings ago." The employee's eyes widened as if he had been caught committing a felony via boredom. Yeah, 1 sec." He disappeared into a small back office. Maya leaned beside Adrian. "You think the guy will show up clear on their cameras?" "No," Adrian said. "But I think someone else might." The employee returned with a portable drive and a nervous smile. "Here. Footage from the 8 a.m. hour." Adrian nodded. "We'll return the drive." Back in the tech lab, Miles plugged in the device and loaded the footage. Maya hovered behind him. Adrian didn't blink. The camera angle wasn't ideal. Grainy, fogged slightly by morning humidity, but it gave a wide view of the cafe's entrance and the sidewalk outside it. "Okay," Miles said, fast forwarding to 8:42 am. The moment before everything began. On the screen, Adrian appeared walking toward the cafe. Calm, unaware. Then, "There," Maya said. "Freeze it." Miles hit pause. Across the street, the hooded man stood leaning against a lamppost, head tilted toward the cafe, body angled away from the camera. The serpent crest was visible, but faint. "Zoom," Adrian said. Miles did. The image sharpened. The hooded man was holding something in his left hand. Not a phone. Something smaller. Metallic. Thin. "What is that?" Maya asked. Miles enhanced again. "Could be a transmitter? Some kind of short-range device?" Adrian felt his heartbeat slow. "It's a signaler," he said. "Used for triggering pre-programmed calls or alerts." Maya's brow furrowed. "So the witness didn't actually talk to Mallory?" "No," Adrian said. "He activated something." Miles scrolled forward. On the footage, Mallory approached the hooded man, but the man didn't speak, didn't gesture, didn't even look at him. Mallory simply responded to something. Something pinged to his device, perhaps to his earpiece, or even to a dispatch mimic. Mallory wasn't following a tip, Maya whispered. He was reacting to a false signal. And he didn't even know it, Adrian said. He was manipulated. Miles zoomed out again. "Guys, I think there's something else." He rewound 5 seconds, played it again. Behind the hooded man, barely visible in a reflection from a parked car's window, was another figure. Not fully in view. Only a silhouette. Taller. Still. "Who's that?" Maya asked. "Too far," Miles said. "But the timing is weird. They move when the hooded guy moves." "Partners," Adrian said. Miles skimmed forward with trembling hands. On screen, Mallory stormed into the cafe. The hooded man stepped away. Then the second figure, the shadow in a reflection, stepped out as well. Only for a half second did the silhouette fully appear before disappearing behind a delivery van. But that half second was enough. Adrian leaned forward so fast his chair screeched. On the reflected surface of the van, the second figure's face was briefly visible. A man with a sharp jawline, pale eyes, and a small scar near his left temple. Maya gasped. "Adrian, you know him?" "Yes," Adrian said quietly. "Who is he?" Adrian swallowed. "Elias Cade." Miles's fingers froze on the keyboard. "Cade?" "As in, Katek Protocol Cade. The intelligence ghost. That Cade." Adrian nodded. "But he disappeared," Maya said. "He went dark 3 years ago. No intel. No sightings. No activity." "Because he didn't want to be found," Adrian said. Miles looked horrified. If Cade is involved in this, then this isn't about extremists, or rogue cells, or even the coil. Maya turned to Adrian. "You said earlier the incident wasn't meant for you, that the storm was built for someone higher." "Yes." "Is Cade higher?" "Much." Maya's voice dropped. "Adrian, what did you work on with Cade before he disappeared?" "Nothing," Adrian said. But the way he said it told Maya everything. "You're lying," she said. Miles turned slowly in his chair. "What, exactly, is Elias Cade to you?" Adrian's jaw tightened. "He was my partner." Silence slammed into the room like a dropped anchor. "Your partner?" Maya repeated. "As in?" "As in we were assigned together," Adrian said. 4 years ago. A classified operation. He was brilliant.